Hi guys, welcome to BodyFixGolf with me, Russ Jones, and today it's all about the kettlebell. We're going to bring you the BodyFixGolf top 5 exercises that are going to help you swing hard but stay healthy. Okay guys, so got ourselves our friend on set today, Mr. Kettlebell. So we're going to give you our 5 big moves that are going to help you improve your golf and use this thing more efficiently. So the first one is a press. I'm going to come down to the floor and it's going to be a half kneeling press. So kettlebell down. For my right arm, I like right knee down. I take my left leg out a little bit more, so it's a slightly wider base to begin with. As I progress, if I want more difficulty, more stability demand, I can bring this foot more in line, and straight away with that narrower base, I'm going to have to work harder through my core and my hips. But for now, to learn the press, we go wide. I then bring the kettlebell up, and it always sits comfortably, or sometimes not comfortably. You can always add wristbands if you want more comfort, depending on how fleshy your forearms are. It should sit with a nice straight wrist there. The elbow in nice and close. I don't want the kettlebell out here putting extra stress on the shoulder and the wrist joint. Bring it in close, and that's my start and my finish position. From there, with my core, hips, everything ready to go, I just drive the arm up, exhale at the top, gently bring the kettlebell back in. Now, disclaimer, some of you might not have a shoulder that goes fully to 180 degrees straight up, in which case the press isn't ideal for you at this time. So what I can do as a little test, if I move my kettlebell out of the way, down onto my back, I'm going to bring my feet up, cross them. That's going to help sink my lower back into the floor. Take both my arms up like so, and just gently let them drop overhead. Now mine go all the way to the floor. Some of you might be hovering halfway, one might be a bit worse than the other. In which case, we can add a pullover for the time being to help stretch the joint, stretch the tissues around the joint, and get the arm overhead easier. So see, by holding the kettlebell like so, the handle already gives me an advantage. So for this, my feet are down on the floor, arms are up, elbows are soft rather than locked, and I just gently stretch overhead and see if I can get the handle to hit the floor and come back. Stretch overhead, tap the floor, come back. Now, if I turn the kettlebell round, it's going to be harder and increase the range of motion. So if I turn it like so, hold it almost like a medicine ball, now I haven't got the handle giving me that advantage. I've got to work through a bigger range of motion. Now, I'm going to like 6 to 10 reps on that exercise. Just get used to it, get comfy, feel the stretch. With all exercises, as we've said in the past, don't work with pain. If there's pain in the shoulder, go get something checked out if you've got something going on there. Discomfort's fine, pain, no good. So over the weeks, that should improve the range. You can then try that press. Next exercise is going to be the bent over row. For that, I'm going to need to go to standing. Okay, so bent over row. Pulling and back muscles, really important for golfers. For this, I'm going to be hinging at the hip. And for stability, to make it a bit easier, I'm going to split that stance. So for working with my right hand, I'm going to have my left foot forward slightly. I'm going to try and make sure that back stays nice and straight, and I'll just be pulling the elbow to the side. So that if I was working in standing, I'm just pulling this elbow back and forth, almost like a saw action to work this shoulder, and I'll be using these muscles called the lats, which run up and down my back. So I pick the weight up, left foot forwards, hand on my other thigh for support if you need. I gently hinge down at the hip, kettlebell hangs. Now what I like to do, to make sure I don't hit my knee, which you'll probably like as well, is I like to give it a little twist as I pull it, and then come back in front of me. Like so. So my hand was starting, knuckles up, and then pulling, and I feel my bicep work as I supinate the hand and pull and work that lat muscle. Next exercise we're going to look at is the squat. Okay, squats. Before we even add the kettlebell, let's check that we can squat. So everybody's hip anatomy is slightly different. So we don't need to say just do hip width, just do shoulder width, go wider. Find what feels comfortable for you. For me, slight turn out of the toes, heels are pretty much hanging below my hips, and I find I can get up and down fairly comfortably through my squat pattern in that position. So always start with just body weight to make sure you can work through there. You can always add in a little chair if you want a little bit of feedback to see how far you're sitting, because remember, a squat is a sit back. You should always be focusing on the hips and the buttocks, loading backwards as we then descend. To add the weight, first I would have it hanging with two arms, easy position, and then just add a squat. Also gives me a little buffer zone there where the kettlebell comes into contact with the ground. Once that's comfortable, goblet squat. Hold on to the kettlebell in front of the chest, keep the chest lifted, brace on the way down, drive up, exhale. Slowly into position, drive up, exhale. For extra demand, through the core particularly, hold it in the rack position again. It's now wonky. My core, my obliques have to work to help control and try and keep my spine somewhat centered. Same thing, I like arm in front, brace, exhale, and then there's your squats. I like building that one up again, 6 to 10 reps. As always, if you feel like you could do 20, 25 of them, the weight's probably not heavy enough for you. Next exercise, we're going to look at the swing. Okay, the swing, which is a hinge. Hinging at the hips, making sure I can drive those hips so that as I load through my swing, I can drive up, get the power from the glutes, try and generate some club head speed. Always important we look after the back so that I keep that spine in that nice straight position, almost as if I'm going to get into a rugby scrum, support that back, and now think about driving the hips, eyes forwards at the top, eyes down on the way down, and not too much knee bend. We've just done squats. We don't want to do more squats. So if I squat when I swing, it's like I'm putting the brake on the whole time. So I'll stop, go, whereas the swing should be a continuous movement. So it looks like this. So I hold it with two hands, I'll give it a little bump forwards, and then I'm off. And then relax. So a little bit more speed to this exercise. Variations I can do once I become comfortable with two-handed is simple, just go to one hand. So same exercise, pick it up, give it a little bump with the hips, through the legs. And I like to get that arm up to about horizontal. You'll notice the kettlebell pauses for a moment there before coming back down. Last exercise we're going to look at is carries. Okay, loaded carries. We're going to be walking, either walking around your garden, your living room, or around the gym floor. Walking as golfers, we do quite a bit, hopefully, not taking that buggy out there and cheating. So I can hold the kettlebell 3 different positions. Well, actually 4. We'll start with 3. So I just hold it like I would a shopping bag, and then I go for a walk. Now, as I take a step, that destabilizes me. Here, I can lock myself in. As soon as I take a stride, everything becomes a little bit more wobbly. So I've got to work really hard through my hips, core, and posture to keep the shoulder nice and level. All good things when we're thinking about golf. Posture, core, hips. Very vital. So I just walk for time. When it starts looking like you might have had a little bit of grandpa's sherry and everything's getting a little bit wobbly, that's time to put the kettlebell down, give yourself a little breather, and then do the same on the other side. When walking with your weight by your side becomes comfortable and you're building that one up, we can do these for up to 2 minutes is what I like a carry, a loaded carry. I can go to the racked position again, like I did for my press and my squat. So when I bring it up to here, like so, and then I go for another walk, you'll notice, because we've raised our center of mass, it's going to be much harder for us to balance and control to keep that spine in a good position. Then, if I want to raise it even more, I can go for a carry where I walk around with the arm straight overhead. Again, like we did with the press, make sure you've got the ability to get this arm into that 180-degree position comfortably, and it doesn't look like one of these where you're putting stress on your back and your neck. So make sure you're comfortable with the press, and then try and walk. It's also a good finisher after you've been doing the presses. And then gently bring it back down. Now, I did say there was potentially 4. With those, or with the last 2, we could do bottoms up. So when I hold the kettlebell upside down, like so, the mass of the kettlebell is above the handle, and you can see that's trying to wobble and trying to destabilize me. I've got to use my forearm, my shoulder, again my core, and try and walk around the room, the living room, the garden, holding that in position. Much harder as soon as we go bottoms up. That's your big 5 exercises. Right, so we've shown you some good moves there to use your kettlebell more efficiently and safely. So as with all exercises that we teach, we want to make sure the focus is on the form rather than the repetitions first. Get the quality in there, be safe, learn the technique, then add the repetitions on top. We're looking at more strength as well. So with that said, I don't want you going out and trying to find a weight that you can do 50 and 100 reps of this. That's not going to have the best impact on our golf. We want to hit the ball far. We need power. It's strength times speed. So let's focus on bringing those reps. Around the 6 to 10 mark is going to be a safe exercise range for you to work with at home. Okay, after all, we want to swing hard, stay healthy. See you in the next video.